Hello, everyone. My name's Jamie. I'm from All Movies Fresh. Before you go check out this interview, go smash the like and subscribe button. So today we're joined by the Venezuelan and Canadian actress Humberly Gonzalez. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm great. Also, I love how you say smash the like button. Like, I've never heard it say like that. I'm like, hit the like button. You're like, no, smash it.
Smash it, yeah,
Love
that's it.
it.
Yeah, that's.
It's
I want to get everyone to watch this. I want to get everyone to watch my interviews.
just like,
So yeah, go for it. Go for it. Not a little tap, a big one. So Humberly, first off, congratulations to you and the cast members for Ginny and Georgia. Broke the record for over 29 days, being at number one in the
wild.
US.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Honestly, it
Mhm.
it felt so surreal because I
Yeah.
never thought that being a part of that it would get to this level. Also,
Yes.
I've never been a part of a show that broke so many records, and it was international, right? It was
Okay.
like
Yeah.
it was a show that got everywhere in the world. So
Yeah.
for me, this was a huge milestone. It was a first for me, my first Netflix show.
Yes.
So a lot of firsts that I honestly could not have asked for a better outcome. It feels like I won the lottery a little bit. Like, oh, I'll just take this ticket. Yeah.
that's
No, we
that's
worked
it.
so hard for it. Like,
Yeah.
it's not luck, but yeah, very, very proud.
Well, congratulations. That's an amazing achievement because you played in character in it, but we've also seen, that you've played other LGBTQ characters as
Mhm.
well, like in CWs In The Dark. Did
Yep.
you have to change the way you act in this one? Did you have to adapt yourself differently, or was it sort of the same?
No, honestly, like it's funny that people are like, "Oh, Sophie's lesbian," but if you pay
Yes.
attention in the show, Max actually talks about her having a boyfriend before her.
Okay.
So her
Yeah.
label, I think, is more open to either queer or just bi, or she
Okay.
doesn't even use a label, which
Yes.
I find it's really refreshing.
Yes.
And in the dark, same thing. Like Jess is the
Yeah.
first girlfriend that she's had in the show.
Hmm.
So I tend to play these characters that are actually very fluid in their
Yeah.
sexuality, and they never actually own just one label.
Yes.
My other show, Utopia Falls, where I also played queer, they never even talk about it. It's like it doesn't even matter. You just love who you love,
Yeah.
which is very in par with who I am as a person. I use the umbrella term queer because I haven't
Yes.
really adopted a full label. I think
Okay.
sometimes it's hard, and I think it keeps changing and evolving.
Yes.
Especially these days, I think we're talking about fluidity and our sexual stance on things, and it's so much more open.
Hmm.
And it's the first time that we've even considered like labels and pronouns in such a huge way. Like
Yes.
nowadays, you go on someone's profile and it says like they, him, she, her, like all of these things. Like we never used to have that. It's
Hmm.
so great to be it's so great to be queer now. I'm like, it's great to kind of have that on screen and be able to represent that side of myself with my
Yeah.
characters and have it be, I guess, more accepted worldwide. And
Uh-huh.
there's a bit more like room to open up to this and be like, we exist and it
Yeah.
can look like this person, it can be this person. Especially because I think my biggest issue was that I never really knew where I fit in. I
Yeah.
am very femme. I like, I'm Latina. There's a lot of like taboos that comes along with that. So I think at first look, people are, they make assumptions about me and like, oh, she's just straight. And um, so it's kind of great to be like, actually,
No,
like,
you're
no.
wrong.
You know what I mean? Like it's kind of
Yeah.
like breaking the bounds. And I think that's what my characters do. They kind of break the
Hmm.
mold in what you think the stereotypes are.
I think is in. Would you say you represent a community? Because I've read on other
Hmm.
interviews that you've done as well, is that you're not just representing one community, you're representing multiple.
For
And
sure.
would you agree to that?
I do. I mean,
Yeah.
the first one is being an immigrant and being
Yeah.
Latina and living in North America. That
Uh-huh.
in itself, everyone has dreams of following their
Yeah.
passions, especially either, being an actor, a musician, a dancer. You always
Hmm.
think that they're so unattainable when you grow up in a country like Venezuela or in South America or somewhere that isn't as
Yeah.
accessible. So me being able to have moved away and follow that and actually succeed in it and have it be
Yeah.
my actual job. That's a huge part of it. I get
Yeah.
messages every single day of people who identify with my story, being
Yeah.
queer, being Latina, being an immigrant, a woman of color, working in the industry, being in Canada, not even the States. Like there are so many
Yes.
areas that people say, I never thought it was possible for me because I limited myself. But now
Yeah.
that I know that you're doing it and it's possible, I'm going to try it. You know, like that's
Yeah.
so inspiring. I
That's it.
love that there's people that can see my journey and feel
Yeah.
inspired to feel like they can do it too. Because I
It's
wasn't
true.
handed anything. It wasn't luck. It was literally just me wanting it, me working for it
That's it.
and getting it. And
That's
it,
the
like
way
it
forward.
works, you know?
That's it. I think
Yeah.
it's it's what you put in it. Everyone wants to, they want to become successful, but it's the amount of work you're going to put in. I mean, I seen on one of your stories the other time that you were just saying that, you started acting late, but you've got to this level now. Would you say, because you grew up in South America,
Mm-hmm.
and now, would you say your journey has been difficult to get where you are today?
I mean, honestly, I think when I think of difficult, I mean, we all run into struggles when we're trying to
Yeah.
achieve something, but maybe there was an extra layer for me because growing up in North America versus South America, I
Yeah.
think here, even as a kid, you have performing arts, high schools, you have like programs that you can go into. I was not in acting classes since I was little. Like that would
Oh,
have
wow.
been amazing, I guess. Like I loved performing, and there was something about telling stories that I really loved without even knowing that that could be a job. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
just something
That's
I
it.
loved doing. So for me, when I say I started late,
Yeah.
even now thinking about it, I'm like, honestly, it's never too late to start. It was just the
That's true.
idea that was implanted in my head that,
Yeah.
oh, you're gonna miss like your blossoming years or something. And
Yes.
in my head, I was like, oh, I wish I started when I was like right out of like before high school. Who knows? Like middle
Yeah.
school, like go to a performing arts high school, like be in it, But honestly, I
Yeah.
think it was the perfect age because I entered it at a point in my life where I was getting closer to who I am and what I
Okay.
wanted. So
Yeah.
honestly, it's never too late. Even if you're 40, 50, 60, like you want to act, go
Yeah.
to a
Go
class,
for it.
start. Like there's room for everyone. Now that I'm in the industry, I really see that. I see that they want people from all walks of life, all
Yeah.
ethnicities and ages. And so why
I
not?
agree. That's it.
It's amazing.
I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
pack up and move to Canada or America,
Right. Just feel like let's
Forget
go.
blogging. I'm gonna be an actor. Why not give it a shot? I'll be
Yeah.
acting alongside you one day, hey.
Hey, honestly, I have people say that all the time. I'm like, if you
Yeah,
want to, like, put it
go
out into
for
the
it.
universe, work hard, and you
Yeah,
truly never know. Never know.
exactly. That's it. I mean, because you've won an FFTG award for the film We. You've also
Yeah.
nominated for the Toronto Nollywood Film Festival for Best International Actress as well. What's your next achievement then?
It's funny. So the 93rd Oscars just happened recently,
Yeah.
and I was watching it on my TV and I cheered to the 100th Oscars to being there in
Yes.
person. So honestly, like to be in the Oscars, not even just nominated, at least be in the audience to
Yeah.
feel that energy and be there. But also, yes, I want to be nominated for an Oscar. Um, who knows? But I just want to be at that level where I get
Yeah.
to go to award ceremonies and do the
Mhm.
whole like get glammed up for the red carpet and all of that.
That's
But
it.
truly, I just want to be able to continue working.
Yeah.
My main goal right now is to book like my first lead in a show. Like I would love to lead a show, to lead a
Okay.
series, something that aligns with what I want to be doing. Maybe something
Yes.
sci-fi, very like in-depth, like dramatic. But I love
Okay.
sci-fi and I love drama.
Okay.
I
Well,
want like a tough character to sink my teeth into and like for it to challenge me in what I can do.
yeah. So that blood, sweat, and tears sort of thing.
Yes, like I want to feel the pain of it every single day, 14 hours a day.
so you,
Actors, I swear, we just love feeling too much. And I'm like, are we martyrs? I don't know. Like,
so
yeah,
we'll see the happiness from you, but when we're filming this, we're going to see the
I
sadness. We're going to see
know.
the lows. You know, I hate acting.
Yeah, I know. It's wild I say that because I am a very happy person.
Yeah.
When you meet me, I'm very, in high spirits and
Yes.
positive. Um, and I think that happens a lot. Like the nicest people that I know play the
Yeah.
best villains. And
Okay.
there's something about exploring a different side of who you are in your everyday life that's really
Yes.
intriguing to me. And I would love to do that more, to go into
Okay.
the sides of me that I never get to do in my everyday life, That's
Yeah.
the fun of it. Yeah.
I think the thing is like you said, the nicest people play the best villains. We see it in a
Hmm.
lot of shows like,
All the time.
I think there was a show called Power. I don't know if you've seen that. And, there's Tariq, how everyone just hates him. And then,
Yeah,
and then he actually faces the abuse, but in reality, he's a nice kid. And
I
then there's
know.
also, it's just, you want to be so like, create a character where everyone hates. That's when you know it's a good villain.
You've done it, right? Yeah. I mean, it would suck to be hated, but I hope like people now know who I am. So I'll be
Yeah,
like,
that's it.
listen, yeah, like don't worry, that's just acting. But it did what it needed to do, right? To be the bad
That's
guy
it.
sometimes,
Exactly.
it doesn't mean they're a bad person. They're just facing very different circumstances. And I
Yeah.
would love to play that, the
But
anti-hero type person, the chip on the shoulder,
yeah,
like with baggage and yeah.
I think when if you do create a villain character, and everyone
Mhm.
does hate you, just go check me out, Ginny and Georgia. I'm a nice person in
Yeah.
reality.
There you go. Like you see me smile there a little more.
Yeah, exactly that. Or check out this interview.
Yeah. Check out the interview. Like I'm a happy person. I'm good. I promise. Yeah.
uh, over the pandemic, how have you been coping? Because we've seen you've been doing a lot of like dancing, yoga, singing. Are they hobbies you've
Yes.
picked up, or you've been doing a long time and just restarted?
Um, I started painting more. I did that a lot
Okay.
last year, and it was, and I got some watercolors to paint with,
Yes.
and that was really fun. I never really stuck to any one thing,
Okay.
but we're still in quarantine and we're still in a pandemic. So I'm actually gonna get a longboard and I
Okay.
want to learn to like do more tricks and dancing on it.
Oh, wow.
I hopped on my friend's longboard not too long ago and I was hooked. And then they keep sending me videos and I'm like, I
Yeah.
need to do this because
The
I slackline and I indoor board so much. So anything with
okay.
balancing and dance movement, I really, really love. So because we can't really do much here, everything is like literally shut down.
Are you in
Um,
Toronto at the moment then?
mhm.
Oh,
And
okay.
everything's
Yeah.
shut down. We're still in state of emergency. Like nothing's open, only essentials and like stay at home orders. So
Oh, wow.
when summer comes, like we're allowed to exercise outside at least. So
Okay.
it's my saving grace. Just I have a dog and I take him out for walks several times a
Mhm.
day. So that's what keeps me going, just soaking in the
That's the
sun.
way. Have you got any like holidays arranged for summertime, or is that a no-go?
No,
Yeah.
like we have loose plans for next year.
Okay.
Um, like I have these two friends that we usually vacation with, like we go to Mexico with them and things like that, and we want to like rent a home there. So once we're all
Okay.
vaccinated, they're already vaccinated. My
Yes.
partner and I are like, we want to.
Yeah.
Toronto's kind of delayed in that, but I think
Yeah.
this month hopefully we'll be able to. So once we
Okay.
feel like we're safe and we're able to like rent a home instead of like flying somewhere that we don't know, we'd be able to
Yes.
kind of, monitor that more. And that's the first thing
Yeah.
I would do is just, go to Tulum or something, somewhere warm
Relax.
and rent a home for like a week or
Yeah.
two and just go like,
Relax.
oh, I
Why
miss the
not?
beach. Yes.
Hey, Mexico's a beautiful place. It's amazing
It
wherever
is.
you go
Yeah.
in Mexico. So
So
how,
nice.
with the pandemic, how has it changed you all acting? Is there
Mhm.
things that you do now that you wouldn't have even thought about or do at the moment?
100%. That's a good
Mm.
question too. I don't think anyone's asked me that, or maybe I've talked about it
Yes.
in small bursts, but the whole industry has changed. The way
Yeah.
that we approach the work now is with COVID in mind at
Hmm.
every single step. Even with auditioning, for example, like we used to go
Yeah.
in the room and meet the directors and the casting agents and sometimes the
Okay.
writers, the producers, whereas now none of that happens in person and it only
Oh,
happens
wow.
through Zoom. So we've
Okay.
had to become very tech savvy. We've had to like really make sure that we have a great system that works, that we're being
Yeah.
seen in our best lighting.
That's it.
And it's kind of this very isolated way of working now, because even on set we have shorter days, which, you know
Okay.
what, it's kind of great. We have shorter days because we can't be like in an enclosed space for too long anymore.
Okay.
You know, everybody has to wear PPE
Hmm.
at all times. We get tested several times a week. Like I'm still shooting a movie right now, so we get tested 3 times a
Oh,
week. So every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I go to the
yes.
studio and I get tested. Some shows get tested as much as 5 times a week. It's
Wow.
wild, right?
That is
And we have
crazy.
private nurses on set that they hire,
Yes.
so the budgeting has, a lot of it has gone to COVID, you know,
Yeah.
whether it's preventative measures, you know, protocols in place.
Yeah.
And it's so bizarre, like, you know, we're not allowed to like socialize on set anymore.
Oh, wow.
Everything is like 6 feet, you keep your mask on, you have your glasses on, you have your shield, like you're just this like, you know, you're just like this, and you're like, hey,
That's
how was
it.
your
I
day?
bet you.
You're like, hi, how are you? And people are like, who is that person? Like no one knows who each other are anymore. So it's kind of removed this very like collaborative and social aspect of working, which I
Yeah.
love. You know, you see the behind the scenes for
Yeah.
Ginny and Georgia, for example. We all used to hang out and go to
Yeah.
karaoke, hang out on set. We used to like hug and be around each other all the time. And like, we're not going to be able to do that anymore.
Yeah.
We
That's
can't
true.
do that. Like
I know.
sets are kind of sad now. You have to go to like your own little compartment and just sit
Oh,
there
wow.
when they call you. So it's a lot more isolating. It's sad. I miss that. I miss like hanging around like the craft table and getting snacks
Yeah.
and meeting new people that you wouldn't otherwise. Whereas now nobody can just like hang around. Everyone
That's.
has like a designed space to go be in. Yeah.
Is it? Does it affect you like mentally? Do you feel like it's going to have an impact on social skills when you go into new shows or new movies that you're shooting?
I mean, I want to say yes, but I guess it depends
Yeah.
on like person to person. For
Yes.
me, I always try to connect with people, like no matter
Yeah.
who they are on set, even
Yes.
through my mask, like I try.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, not just on set, but in life, I think we're
Yeah.
kind of like having this anxiety of the world
Mm.
reopening and what that's going to be like.
Yeah.
Because when you go from living in fear and anxiety and the unknown for so long, it's kind of
Yeah.
hard to kind of ease your mind and
That's
convince
true.
yourself that everything is okay even though things are not. Like
That's
COVID
it.
isn't just going to disappear. We have preventative measures like the vaccines and washing
Yeah.
our hands and using masks and things like that. But COVID, just because we're vaccinated doesn't mean that it's just going to like disappear, right?
Disappear.
So
Yeah.
I think we're
Exactly.
just going to have to learn to live with it. We're going to have to adapt to a
Come
new
into it.
you know?
That's it. I think because
Like there is
we
no
yeah.
eating peanuts, free peanuts at the bar anymore. You can't just dig into the popcorn. Can't just like blow out candles on a birthday cake. Like the fact that we used to do that, I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, we used to
Blows
blow on
your
a cake
mind.
and then cut pieces and give it to someone. Like
Yeah.
it sounds crazy.
That's
Yeah.
that's good. They're gonna have to give you like box cakes and things like that now. I think it's just
Yeah. And that's how it is. Like all of our food now is like
Mhm.
pre-ordered beforehand and they send it to us in a
Wow.
bag. Like it used to be all kind of like buffet style. Like that's
Yeah.
not a thing anymore. Yeah.
It's all like plain food now, isn't it? So when you're feel like you're
And
on an
you get to
aeroplane.
order, yeah.
That's
Here's your airplane
it.
food.
It comes in a little box with knife and fork.
Yeah.
Blimey.
Yeah.
So you know, like you were saying earlier about how how you were all very sociable with the Ginny Georgia cast members. There was a lot of energy and chemistry between you all, especially you and Sarah as well. And then we seen that I think a lot of people who look into depth in the show had seen that you transferred that energy offset to onset. Would you say that's key and important to creating a good TV show and a movie, having that
For
energy off the
sure.
screen? Yeah.
I think so. I mean, when you book a show, a lot of the time
Yes.
you're gonna start working with strangers. I didn't
Mhm.
know anybody on this set before I started,
Okay.
you know? So being able
Yes.
to socialize and get to know them, it kind of brings down those walls and you get to
Mhm.
relax into connecting with a person.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting because I haven't been like kind of affected by that as much because the stuff that I've shot in the past year has
Yes.
been less of an ensemble and more of like maybe like me and another person or me and this person, you know, like I haven't had
Okay.
to share space with a big ensemble where we all have to interact. Thankfully, once we do that, like I guess everyone will be getting tested and will be like in a bubble. So we'd be able to kind of explore that, but not on set, because the COVID person will be like 6 feet. They like scream at you. You can't hug. You can't like be like sitting next to each other. No, but I think it is going to take a toll in like the depth of those relationships and how they're developed off screen. Because I do think like I do the work. Like I try to meet up with my castmates, my co-stars, whoever, so that I can get to know them, so that we have a bit of a repertoire before we start shooting. The camera sees everything. They can see when it's real. Yeah.
That's it. I think that's the key factor in it all. Having that bond between you, and now that's been sort of broken up. Is it going to be interesting, when you go back to film season 2? Because I know you guys have been renewed for season 2 of Ginny and Georgia. How's it going? Are you looking forward to it, or is it sort of like down the energy when you go back?
I mean, I'm looking forward. Thankfully, like I know most of the cast now. It'll be kind of like if we have newcomers and new cast members, they're going to have to come into something that's already settled. But at the same time, everyone is so kind in this set. I kid you not, like some of the best people I've ever worked with. And so I think they're going to make it work in a way that it's going to be like, even through Zoom, like I know that Sarah Lamport is going to be like, okay, we're playing games over Zoom to get to know each other, because if we can't all hang out in one place, we're going to do it somehow. So they're going to find a way to bring us together. And thankfully we're living in a time where we have internet. Like back in the day when the last pandemic hit, like the Spanish flu, like 1912, they didn't have this. So like at least now we have technology, and it's the only thing that like brought us closer,
Yeah, at least it's not through Morse code. Hey, you don't have to do any of that.
Like this.
You got this. Blinking and tapping
God,
away.
right? Like written letters, snail mail. No, so I feel honestly like it has to be an individual thing. Like if you want to connect with someone, you find a way, but definitely there's going to be a bit more difficulty, because we can't just be like all over each other and hugging and shouting at each other and like going to karaoke, going to dinners. Like that was the way that we bonded, because we had activities to do. And you kind of felt like you were family, like you were friends.
That's it. I think it's such a massive deficit on all those things that you see. And the good thing about Netflix is they actually show behind the scenes. They don't just show the show itself. So that's the main advantage. But I think it's like a massive downside that all this has been taken away.
And we're gonna start seeing that. Like I think, well, none of my things that I've shot that I all like this past year have come out yet, and we have done I guess behind the scenes. So it's going to be really interesting. Like the first show that I shot out of the quarantine the first time was Nurses, season 2 of Nurses, which is an NBC show. It's a medical procedural. And that was the first show. We were the first show up in Toronto. So we were like the guinea pigs.
Oh, wow.
And, we were kind of like testing out how the new normal and being like, so it's going to be interesting to see like the behind the scenes from that, where like everyone's just like 6 feet apart with their mask, PPE, like the camera people, you can't recognize anyone. But at the same time, like we still had so much fun. It was still very enjoyable. Yeah.
That's good.
Not as much, sadly.
Hopefully things get better for yourself and for for the world, basically. So if you weren't acting, what would you have done instead?
Honestly, I would have probably become a yoga instructor. I would have gotten like my 500 hours somewhere in Costa Rica, and I would be teaching like all over the world. And thankfully that's something that I could have, I guess, done through the pandemic and taught online or something. As long as I'm engaging with people, I would love to. Like I think if I wasn't an actor, I would still be performing in some way. I would have been like the host of some kind of show, or like, who knows, create my own show and be the host of it. Or like, maybe I would have just auditioned for reality TV and just like gone to like Survivor. Who knows?
I mean, what sort of like TV and things are you into? Is it sort of trash TV, or is it more other stuff?
All of it.
Really?
Don't trash on my trash TV, okay? I love reality TV. It is something that I don't have to like pay attention to, but I love the drama of it. I mean, I used to be like an OG like Jersey Shore. Like I used to watch
Okay.
that from like
Oh
back in
wow.
the day. But then there's shows like Survivor that
Yeah.
you can't even call it. I mean, it is reality TV, but not in the way that you think The Bachelor is, because
Yes.
Survivor is genius. I've seen every single season. I'm excited for season 42, which is wild that they've gone that long,
Oh,
but there's something about it that I can't get enough of. And I just finished watching the new season of The Circle.
okay. Oh wow.
So I've seen like almost every reality TV show. I'm sure there's many out there that I haven't, but I love them. And it's just something you
Yeah.
can watch and like laugh at and be like, oh, I'm glad
Keeps you
that's not
going.
me. Or
You just
something.
got
Or be like, oh, watch people fall in love. Like I love that. I'm such a sucker for it. My other favorite is the complete
yeah.
opposite, which is literally horror movies. I love
Okay.
horror. Yeah.
Oh wow. That's good.
Yeah.
Have you watched any what would you say for your like favorite horror movies would be?
I mean, like the classic ones.
Yes.
I'll always love The Ring. I think that
Okay.
was
Oh
like
wow.
a huge one of
The
its
best.
time. And
Yes.
like I remember watching it when I was in Venezuela. So this was a long time ago. Um, but like The Conjuring, like all of the Conjuring
Yeah.
movies are great, Sinister, they're all great. And most recently, like when I watched Hereditary and Midsummer,
Okay.
like out of this world. Those are good movies. Like,
All
oof.
right.
I recently watched Run with Sarah Paulson in it.
Okay.
Great movie.
Good
I love
film.
like psychological thrillers.
Okay.
Um, but any genre really. Like I've seen all of the Saw movies, and I know that there's a new one
Yeah.
coming out with Chris Rock, Spiral.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited to see that one. Like those were incredible to
Good
me.
film.
I'm like,
I think
give me the
that's it.
gore.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's a
it's
good
so
film
bizarre. Yeah.
called The Little Things with Denzel Washington, and that's more of
Yeah.
like a psychological thing. But there's, I think we've seen
Yes.
with Netflix as well. They're releasing a lot of drama, well, reality shows that are
Yeah.
based on it. We saw about the night crawler as well, about the incident in LA, and then
Yes, I love like crime TV. Like I've
yes,
seen all of those too.
the,
Serial killers,
yes,
just all my crime docs. Like I have watched all of them. Yeah.
that's good.
You would never think, but I'm like, give me all the dark stuff again with the dark
Yeah.
stuff. I just love it. It's
Mhm.
very fascinating to me.
That's it. I mean, that's good. Is your partner sort of into the same thing or complete opposite?
Totally. Yeah.
Is it?
Thank
Yeah.
goodness. Otherwise, it would not be a fun time. But I literally watch them like late
Yes.
at night, right
Okay.
before bed. I get cozy. It's literally like my
Oh
comfort.
wow.
I'm like, ooh, let's put on a scary movie. That's how I like watching them. And
Yeah.
not everyone agrees with that. They're like, no, no,
No,
no.
they're,
Yeah.
they're the complete opposite. So final question today, Humberly. What would your advice be to future actresses, actors wanting to make it to your level and to the Golden Globes and the Oscars and things like that?
Oh, and we're gonna get there. Honestly,
Yeah.
the biggest thing is don't put limitations on yourself
Okay.
just because you're afraid.
Yes.
That is something we do at any point in our career, even as people. But we
Yeah.
often think, oh, I can't do that because this. Oh, I can't do that because of this. It's like you don't even know yet. You haven't
Yeah.
even tried or started, and you've already put limitations on why you can't do something. So
Yeah.
just do it. If you want to act, find an acting class, start training. And that's literally
Yeah.
step one, just to see how you feel, what acting feels like. If you have any talent can, like it can be learned. Like I don't think that
Yeah.
I was the greatest actor when I started. I got deeper into it and took layers off, and you kind of learn
Yeah.
about different acting techniques and see what works for you. I started
Oh,
in theater, now I'm in film. Like don't have an expectation of it, but
yeah.
just be open and vulnerable.
That's cool.
And I know that if you do the work, it can happen, because I did it, and I truly like this little like immigrant Latina moving to North America. Like it seems impossible, but it worked
You've done
because
it.
I was so adamant and like, yeah, I'm gonna make it. Yes, I'm gonna do it, and I'm just gonna
Yeah.
keep trying, even when people tell you no, or that you're not good enough, or this
Hmm.
and that. Like, yeah, it hurts, and sometimes it gets into your head, but you are the only person that can determine that, not
That's
them.
true.
Everybody else will try to put you down if they're threatened, or if they're jealous, or if they're simply insecure, or they think they're
Yeah.
trying to warn you into go into an industry that is really difficult. Not gonna
Hmm.
lie, it is difficult.
Yeah.
But you know, what is it? Like Things are not
That's
just
it.
like, here you go, ready, made, like go make money, go be an art. Like,
That's
no,
true.
you have to work for it. But
Exactly.
truly, if you feel like you want to be an actor, like anybody can do this. I really, really think that you just have to put in the work and
Put
be
them, yeah.
be vulnerable enough and
Yeah.
open for people to see you.
That's it. I mean, it's like with myself is because I've just started off, and now to get an interview with
Yeah.
yourself is just such a massive thing. But you got to put in the
Yeah.
work. You got to put in the
You have
work.
to. I mean, when my team reached out to me, I was like,
Yeah.
honestly, I love doing interviews when I have the time, especially with
Yes.
people who aren't like as established, because if you're not given a shot and you're learning from each experience,
Yes.
then they're never going to grow. So
That's true.
why not do an interview with someone who isn't as known, but it would be still fun. Like I'll share it, you'll share it. And that's kind of how you start building your community, right?
Thank you.
I like supporting people at their start, at their beginning of things, like
Yeah.
that's why I love supporting small businesses. I love supporting my friends. I love
Yeah.
supporting people who aren't just like famous, because
Okay.
I started somewhere too, and
Yeah.
it feels good to be believed in or to be given an opportunity. I know what
That's
that's
true.
like. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Thank you. Thank you very much, Humberly, for taking the time out and joining us. You can also check out Humberly's new show tomorrow, Jupiter's
yes,
Legacy. All the
yes,
best for
Jupiter's
that.
Legacy.
Well, I know it's going to be a success as well because seeing you acting Ginny in Georgia, I know this is going to be another level up, and you're only going to get better.
Yeah,
And hopefully one day
thank
we
you.
see you winning an Oscar and also the BAFTAs and
Yes,
things.
we will see it. We'll go back to this interview and be like, see, we manifested it. We did.
Exactly. It could not said it better. Thank you very much, Humberly.
Yeah,
Have a great evening
thank you
and take
so
care.
much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Nice to meet you. Bye bye.